So you want to build an accessory dwelling unit, but you don't know where to start. How big should it be? Who should design it? How long will it take? What are the costs? Take a deep breath. In this video, we're going to tell you exactly how to start on your ADU. And after having conversations with more than 4,000 homeowners who want to build these, we'll answer the questions that we get asked most frequently. Hi, I'm Caitlin, the founder and CEO of Maxable. I grew up with a granny flat on my parents' property, and the rental income helped us pay the mortgage. In fact, that's the reason I founded Maxable. I saw what a positive impact the ADU had on our family, and I wanted to show other people how it could change their lives too. So if you're just now considering an ADU, this video is going to give you all the basics that you need to know. We've helped hundreds of homeowners kickstart their ADU projects, and our free platform lets you manage, plan your project from start to finish. Now let's begin our crash course with ADUs. Step 1, define your goals. It's important to define the purpose of your ADU because that's going to affect the design, the finishes, and of course, your budget as well. Nationwide, these are the top reasons why people are building an ADU. 1, for housing parents, 2, for housing adult children, 3, for rental income, and 4, for a home office. Each of these call for different design specs. For instance, if you're creating a space for your aging parents, you'll naturally want to use universal design that's accessible for people who might someday have problems with mobility. You might want to make sure there's room for a ramp or a parking pad next to the unit, or other amenities that'll make mom and dad love you even more than they already do. If you're planning on renting the ADU to someone who's not a family member, you'll likely want durable and functional finishes, and you'll want to max out your bedroom and bathroom count. Here's a Maxable tip. ADUs are long-term investments, and their purpose will probably change over the years. And that's why we recommend that all ADUs incorporate some kind of form of universal design, and that you carefully consider the amount of privacy that you want between your house and the ADU, not just now, but also in the future. Step 2, custom or prefab. Next, it's time to think about what type of ADU would work best for you and your property. There are 2 main types, modular prefab and custom. Modular prefab ADUs are constructed entirely in a factory and transported to your home. Custom ADUs, or stick-built, are built on-site from the ground up. You can learn much more about both of these types by watching our modular versus custom ADU video. At this time, the price for modular prefabs and custom ADUs is roughly the same, as long as the size and quality of the ADUs are similar. The main advantage of a modular ADU is that you have very little disruption on your property. The advantage of a custom ADU is that it's custom. You get to design a unit that's exactly what you want and maximizes specific features on your property, like access to the alley or a scenic view. There are other niche categories of ADUs, including panelized prefabs, which are partially constructed off-site, and stick-built ADUs based on pre-approved plans. These make up a smaller percentage of the ADUs being built today. If you go with a custom ADU, you have another big decision to make. Do you want a detached ADU? This will add the most value to your property, or a garage conversion, usually the most cost-effective ADU you can build. Or in a lot of places, you can go above the garage with an ADU. It's more expensive to build, but very appealing because you get to keep your garage and your backyard. There's also attached ADUs, which is attached to the main house. These tend to be garage conversions, but they don't have to be. Or a JADU, a junior accessory dwelling unit. These have to be created out of existing space within the primary structure, which can include an attached garage, and there are special size limits and other regulations for JADUs. The advantage of building a JADU in California is that you can also build an ADU on the same property. Choosing the right ADU can be a real head scratcher, which is why we get so many calls from homeowners saying, "Help, I can't decide." There are a lot of factors to consider, as well as local ADU regulations that could seriously impact your budget. Okay, here's another Maxable tip. If you're doing a garage conversion, you also have to think about where all the stuff in your garage is going to go. Thrift stores and garage sales are a great idea to remove some of that old stuff that you don't use, and you can always build a shed in the backyard if you need even more storage. Okay, step 3 is get your financing. Before taking the major step of hiring a designer, it's essential to know how much money you have for design, permitting, and construction. There's nothing worse than fantasizing about this amazing giant ADU for months only to realize that for all the time being spent, it's beyond your reach. The cost of building an ADU varies pretty dramatically depending on your location. In major California cities, it can be anywhere from $300 to $600 a square foot. In other regions of the country, the cost may be significantly lower. However, Homeowners usually fund their ADU with a renovation loan, a cash out refinance, or a HELOC. And ADU financing is evolving, but it's still a niche product. So when looking for a lender, do yourself a huge favor and go with someone who has the experience of funding accessory dwelling units. Experienced ADU lenders also know how important it is to get accurate local comps to appraise the value of your house now, as well as the value that will be added after the ADU is complete. These lenders also offer tiered mortgage products that can adjust depending on whether you're in the design, construction, or you're refinancing after the ADU construction is completed. Be sure to watch the How to Finance Your ADU for more details on the funding process. And if you're curious about property taxes with your ADU, we've got a video about that too. Okay, here's another Maxable pro tip. Apply to get pre-approved for your loans. This process can take as little as 48 hours and will at least give you a rough idea of how much you'll be able to borrow. Just as important, you'll find out if there's any issues with your financial situation that you'll have to resolve before you can get approved. Step 4, hire your ADU designer. There's been gigantic ADU building boom over the last few years, and we've seen all kinds of architects and designers jump on the bandwagon. If there's one piece of wisdom that I want to impart on you, it's hiring the right designer is critically important to the success of your project. Even though it's a small percentage of your overall budget, it has an oversized impact on cost. Think about it like this. Within architecture, there are different niche types of architecture in the same way that we have specialists with doctors. You're not going to hire a pediatrician to do brain surgery. Similarly, hiring a commercial architect or a friend of yours that just happens to be an architect is totally different than working with someone that specializes in ADUs. Another reason why this is so important is because the laws and regulations have been changing and continue to change frequently. Sometimes you'll need your architect or your designer to advocate for you at the city and make sure they're pushing back when the city doesn't have it correct. It does happen. At Maxable, we've sourced experienced ADU designers for more than 300 of our homeowner clients. Our design partners are carefully vetted and have portfolios of completed ADUs, so you can be sure that their style fits with yours. Okay, another Maxable pro tip. Ask your designer for insights about the current supply chain issues. Are there any fixtures or finishes you should start shopping for right away? Are there items on your wish list that are going to bust your budget? Find out now and you can make smarter decisions down the road. Okay, I know. You still have some questions. Let's answer a few of those now. How much do ADU permits cost? Okay, so your jurisdiction sets the rate for ADU building permits with guidelines and limits set by the state. Your jurisdiction is either your city or your county. Your ADU designer should be able to give you some ballpark range of how much permits cost in your area, but in California, we generally see them in the $4,000 to $7,000 range. Next question, when is the right time to hire a GC? So at Maxable, we have a special process. After you hire a designer, we'll check back in with you 1 month into your project. Typically, this is when you have your schematic designs. And what we want to do is we want to take that floor plan or elevations, also known as schematic designs, and we want to send those out to 3 general contractors in our network and get a rough estimate, not a bid, but an estimate. The benefit of that is not only do you get info on a ballpark on cost really early in the process while your design is still malleable, but then if you lock in a contract with the designer at that point in time, they can act as a thought leader for you throughout the project and help you value engineer those designs to bring the cost down. Typically, general contractors aren't going to spend that extra time and work with you unless they know you're going to be their client. My final comment on the GCs is that GCs are in hot demand right now. So the good ones might already be booked up. And so that's why it's so important to get on their schedule early so that you can lock in your slot and they can plan accordingly. The best way to go about this is to get a referral to local general contractors experienced with building ADUs. And of course, we can help you with that. Our GC partners are vetted, experienced, and dedicated to giving Maxable clients VIP service. If you've already got your ADU plans and are looking for a general contractor, hit the link below and we'll help connect you. Next question, how long does it take to build an ADU? From meeting with a designer to stepping into your finished ADU, it's usually about 12 to 18 months. The time frame depends on the supply chain, the availability of tradespeople in your area, and we've seen that the permit process is becoming more impacted in cities. Each phase of a build involves workers with special skills like pouring a foundation or wiring the electricity or installing cabinets, and they have to work in a specific order because each phase must pass a city inspection. So the timeline for construction depends a lot on the availability of these workers. Do ADUs require parking? This depends on your state and local regulations. In Oregon, cities cannot require off-street parking for ADUs. In California, ADUs don't need a parking space as long as they're within a half-mile of public transit. In other states, the parking regulations may vary according to the size of the city and the local regulations. Will your ADU be required to have solar panels? Solar requirements vary by state. In California, if you have a detached new construction, you must put solar on it. A garage conversion or an ADU that's attached to the main house is not required. Let's get started. When you build an ADU, you're building a house. There are hundreds of decisions, large and small, that you'll make along the way. That's why I founded Maxable, to be your trusted guide and to get you through the process with as little stress and as much fun as possible. We believe ADUs are the best answer for so many of the housing problems that we face. With seasoned ADU designers and general contractors, you can build an accessory dwelling unit that will enrich your life or your investment portfolio for decades to come. Find out more by checking the address at the link below, and don't forget to like and subscribe.